Hey, this is lesson 8 on gearing. So I'm just checking my system on there. So this is lesson 8 on gearing. Now, gearing is where do you borrow your money from? Now, we're talking here about bigger companies. So obviously, if it's a small company, you may raise £10,000 yourself, and then you've got family and friends, and they may give you some money. However, if it's a big company, it's long-term loans divided by long-term loans plus shareholder funds times 100. Now, a long-term loan is exactly what it says it is. It's when you go down the bank and you say, I want to borrow money over 5 years. Shareholder funds or total equity, which I've got on here, what that means is people who put money into your company as a shareholder. Now, the shareholder at that point in time is taking the risk, and therefore you pay them dividends, and that's how they make their money, and hopefully that the share price will go up. So gearing shows us where you get your money from, and it comes out as a percentage at the end. It can be anything from 0 to 100%. Now, gearing is non-current liabilities. It can also be seen as non-current liabilities divided by non-current liabilities plus shareholder funds. Now, that means exactly the same as the one above it. But it's quite hard for students sometimes, I think, to imagine that non-current liabilities really means long-term loans. But that's what it does mean. Shareholder funds is also the same as equity. So when you buy a share, you're buying a stake in the business. It's like buying equity in that business. Okay, so I'll give you 3 simple scenarios here, or 4 simple scenarios here. Long-term loans 10, shares 90, long-term loans 50, shares 50, long-term loans 70, shares 30, long-term loans 100, and shares 0. Now, in this case here, obviously that number there is going to be 10 divided by 10 plus 90, which is 10 divided by 100, so 10 divided by 100 is 10%, times 100 is 10%. Long-term loans are 50, then we will have 50 up here, and the shares are also 50, so it's going to be 50 there, and 50 there, so it's 50 divided by 100, which is 0.5 times 100, it comes out as 50%. Now, that means that 50% of your money has obviously come from long-term loans. Okay, in this case, long-term loans 30, shares 30, you're getting the idea. So then is 70 divided by 70 plus 30. So the answer times 100, the answer there is 70%. So when we look at gearing, the last one here, long-term loans 100, so that's 100 divided by 100 plus 0. So therefore it's 100%. So the number that comes out tells us what percentage we borrow in terms of long-term loans. The significance of it is, according to the books, low gearing is less than 50% and high gearing is above 50%. So candidates don't really get this, but they never expand it on from there. So imagine if you've got gearing of 100%, that means all of your business is financed by long-term loans. Therefore, you've got to pay interest payments on that. What happens if the rate of interest goes up? Then you've got to pay a higher rate of interest on those loans. And also, if you can't pay that interest, then the bank can come in and take the collateral of your business and can take over your business. So that's a major disadvantage of borrowing money through long-term loans. However, if you do borrow all of your business through long-term loans, you still own all of the company. And that's really important because all the profits will therefore go to you. So if your business is highly profitable, in a way, it's good that your gearing is high and you haven't borrowed your money from shares. Because if you're making loads of money and the shareholders will then take a percentage of the profits, therefore, in a sense, you're going to be worse off. However, according to the books and everything else, if you do have low gearing, that is one way in which you can borrow more money because it's safer for a firm to lend money to you. But of course, that will also depend upon ROIC. Because if your ROIC is really high and you're making loads of money, then it's likely that banks will lend to you anyway, even if you've got really high gearing. So sometimes don't be stuck in the bases, right? Low gearing means you can borrow more money, and high gearing means that you can't borrow more money. If your firm is making large amounts of profit, the ROCE is high, therefore you will also be able to borrow even more money through long-term loans. Okay? Gearing done. This is related to the capital structure of a business. Why do you borrow money through shares and loans? Probably to go out and buy fixed assets.